Yes, Citizens Forum on the Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM, the voice of the people, the penultimate Thursday for the year 2017. Alright, after this, we have just one Thursday left in the year 2017. So, it's appropriate to begin to wind down to the year. Of course, a lot of difficulties went through the year 2017, more especially in the production, manufacturing sector, and maybe I should say our industries, the economy. We were officially informed during the last quarter of last year that formally and officially the country Nigeria has gone into recession. Well, Quarter 1 2017 remained the same, Quarter 2 remained the same. Quarter 3, as we approach the end, well, we also got the report of a marginal exit from recession. And of course, on entering the last quarter, which we are, we begin to have hopes. Our economists, our managers of the economy begin to give us hopes that things are getting shapen up. However, we've had this question before. We want to find out from those who are in there, in the manufacturing sector, those who have industries and are producing, whether at the small scale, medium scale, if this marginal exit or exit hope rising for Nigerians moving out of recession, what does it imply? How have they interpreted it? And what is its effect on the local economy, as it were? That's what we are looking at this morning on the Citizen Forum. And I have Honourable Johnson Olu Fatoki with me. He's a manufacturer here in the state capital. Good morning.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, everybody.
All right, straightforward from the intro, marginal exit, Nigeria gradually moving out of recession. How do you view this?
Before I go into details, let me first tell, to my understanding, what we mean by recession. Recession is malfunctioning of economic system where things were not working at all. You can't access fund, you can't even get importation as at where you need it, you needed it, and the purchasing power of average Nigerians was dwindling, reducing by the day. The hardship was on the increase. So that is recession. Then you don't look at how do we got into recession. To my own understanding, the recession experienced by Nigeria is self-inflicted. When this government first came in, the so-called body language put a lot of pressure on the manufacturing sector.
What kind of body language?
I will explain. That is the definition. They said body language. Nigerians were expecting so much from the presidency. Nigerians want a lot of change, positive change. But and if you look at our economy, manufacturing sector in particular, we have the foreigners, dominating it. The Indians, the Chinese. So the fear, they were not, in the first 3 months, there was fear to even import. They don't know what policy of the government will be. But by the time the government made pronouncement, the government make it, the Central Bank of Nigeria make it impossible. It was a pronouncement that you cannot even pay $1 into your domiciliary account. That is the dollar account. No matter how minute, $1 you couldn't pay into your domiciliary account. That means, by implication, it was not possible or extremely difficult to import goods or raw materials from abroad. The condition given then was, all right, if you want to import, apply through your bank to the central bank. I was a practical experience. I had a practical experience of this. I had a machine that I even deposited in China, and I needed to import it. I needed to pay the balance before the import. The machine was brought to Nigeria. So now it was difficult. I couldn't pay, and we're looking for. I applied through my bank to the CBN. I waited for about 6 months, and the dollar was not given. Provisional funds was raised, and I could not get that machine. No alternative. Well, we had to look for alternative. An alternative then was we look for somebody outside the country, a Nigerian who has dollar over there and who has Naira account in Nigeria. Okay, I need so much dollar. The person, we are not at the mercy of such people.
So you pay Naira to the person's account.
We pay Naira to the person's account, and that person transferred dollar to the company where we want to buy other goods or any goods, other materials or machinery. So that is the beginning of rise in dollar, the value of dollar. The dollar went as far as 800. $1 to 800 Naira. So that is what I said, it was self-inflicted. By the time the government now said, okay, you can pay into your domiciliary account, you can even on monthly basis, the government was releasing dollar into the market. There was dowsing, there was a reduction in the value of Naira, and the Naira was appreciating. So now, but when you now look at the effect on average Nigerians, the purchasing power reduced drastically. The salary remains stagnant, but the prices of goods and services increased. If you want to buy vegetable, then the people will tell you dollar has risen. Some people will say, what affects vegetable or garri with dollar? The farmer that one time they sell their products, they take that money to buy clothing material. They take that money to buy valuable items, which was affected by this dollar. So by implication, the dollar will still definitely have effect on the farmer. So the farmer have to increase the prices of his produce. So now, when you now look at this effect on manufacturing industry, the cost of production increased. So the purchasing power reduced. So the profit margin drastically eroded, if not totally, if not reduced, if not totally eroded. So the problem was so much then. Now, I like the word marginal exit from recession, because when you talk of total taking away of recession, it is not true. The recession is still there, but when you use the word marginal, fine. Because if you want to access, if you want to get dollar, you can get it now. If you want to import raw materials, you can get it. But the fact still remains that the value of dollar, even at the official rate, is 305 Naira. Then, before 2015, we had the highest you have is 180 Naira to $1. There's nothing impossible. The government can still do it, putting the forces of the demand and supply together. Through regulations, we can still have it as low as 180, 200. That will bring the price of importation down, and that will enable Nigerians to buy at cheaper rate. But as at now, we see how prices of goods on the increase. So it is.
Now you've been talking more about the effect of the dollar on your production, on the system, the industry in which you are. Is this the only thing really that is affecting the cost of production? Yes.
No, we have a lot of challenges facing manufacturing industry. The major challenge is electricity. Now, if we run the factory with diesel, generating
the equipment sections,
so that also adds to the cost of production. Then don't rule out the possibility. Apart from electricity, you look at the purchasing power of average Nigerians. If you have products or services available to Nigerians, if they have cash, if they have disposable, the available cash, they will carry out those services or buy goods that is needed. But these days, people buy, there's no longer stocking of items. If the workers, either the private sector workers or the civil servants, if they don't get their salary as at when due, if they don't have the pension as at when necessary or as at when due, forget about it. It will affect the manufacturing industry.
So it's true that the services or salaries of civil servants, let's use bills, Ogun State here, will automatically affect the other industries that are purchasing or production.
Seriously, let me, by the time at the end of the month, when the workers take their salary, it reflects on the sales that we generate. Because by the time you take your salary, you go to the market, you buy garri, you buy food, you buy soap, you buy all these stock items. But when you are not even sure when to get salary, or you get it late, you can't stock goods. It's not possible. And when you are not buying, when your purchasing power reduce, it will affect the industry that is producing. Whatever we produce into the market is for the general team to really. We expect optimal production, and we expect response from the market. But when the purchasing power reduces, that's what you can do.
Okay, for somebody like you, I'm talking of your business now. Of what effect or how have you been feeling the much talk about ease of doing business, the industrial growth in Ogun State in the last 12 months?
It has been serious. Let me say, any organization that is not versatile, any organization that doesn't, it's by the grace of God that we're surviving. I've mentioned electricity is number one. Two, it is almost difficult, if not impossible, to even access funds for commercial banks. In those days, it is these banks that will come to the company, even appealing to the company, please come and take facilities. There are facilities, please come. These days, it is not even there. Short-term or long-term facilities, you can't get it. And you can't produce at the optimal if you don't have enough fund. So we face a lot of, the challenge is cumbersome. One, the purchasing power of average Nigerians have reduced, so they couldn't buy more. Where we're supposed to have free access to funding, it is not there because of the regulations. So when you talk of this recession, it's still prevalent in the banking industry. They are still feeling it. Go to commercial banks. Most commercial banks, any bank that you enter, if they have about 30 staff, you discover that only about 9 or 10 are permanent staff. Other temporary or casuals. That is not what we expect in this country.
Honourable Fatoki, from the point in which your business is today, are you seeing is there any signal from that point? Did you see any indicator to show that we will soon get out of this, or perhaps 2018 is going to be much more different from what we have now?
As a rational economist, as a true Nigerian, I have to be optimistic. We need to assist the government.
No. Apart from optimism is
in reality.
Yes, I'm talking about indicators now.
Yes, now
signals.
I'm yet to see it, but I'm praying we have it. If the electricity can be fixed, things will improve.
And there's no sign that will be done soonest.
There's no, even the Minister of Power not really assure Nigeria, the Nigerians of that. Then the workers should be paid as at when due. The flow of money in the circulation should be regular. There shouldn't be stagnant of fund. If I, as a worker, if I get my salary as I went due, I go to the market and buy, the wholesaler or retailer also take that money, reinvest it. The multiplier effect of every kobo you put into the economy is going to be greater. But when there's no money in the circulation, there's no way we can improve.
Let me take you back to the issue of dollar. They need to bring the dollar down, as you have mentioned. What we have now is a system where the CBN regularly pumps dollar into it. Without this intervention, what else can be done to bring it down?
Thank you very much. Under normal circumstances, the dollar supposed to, the value of dollar or any value of goods supposed to be regulated by the forces of demand and supply, where there is normal economic system. Now, the regulation is an aberration. The regulation is also killing. Now, what's supposed to be done? One, let's encourage integration of organization. Let's produce most, if not all, that we are consuming. Even the fuel that we have crude oil in Nigeria. What is difficult in refining petrol and diesel in Nigeria? Why is it difficult for the past 10, 15 years? Whose interest are we protecting? The question is, most politicians have interest in this. They have refinery at Togo, at Cotonou. So they're not even praying that we have a functional refineries in Nigeria. If we can get all that one done, if the electricity can be put in place, naturally the forces of demand and supply will bring the value of the dollars down. The dollar will be chasing naira, but now it is naira that is chasing a dollar. Almost everything we are importing, even the major products that Nigeria has, which is crude oil, we still take it out. Look at the cost implication of taking crude oil out of Nigeria and the transportation back to this nation. The cost implication, look at it. Look at the implication of employment. Those that are refining outside Nigeria are not Nigerians. If we have functional refineries in this country, more people will be employed. Whatever salary those people are taking will be used within the system. That is not there because of certain interests.
I know that the norm generally is it is the federal government that will regulate, that will bring up fiscal and economic policies for the entire government of a country. But how can the state, because in Nigeria we say we have 3 tiers of government, so that should be independent really. How can the states, for instance Ogun State, come in and help reduce all these problems you've highlighted?
The state in the area of nation's economy, will only be effective if we have true federalism. Now, the federalism we are practicing now is just in theory. In practical, we are not there. There are some raw materials. If Ogun State, for example, have a deposit of crude oil, what stops Ogun State from refinery itself, sell and develop the state? But because of the policy, even in the Nigerian constitution, there are those that are we have exclusive list, concurrent list, and residual. Almost everything is at the center now. Now, the state cannot survive without taking subventions or what do we call it, allocation from the federal. That should not be, and that is what every Nigerians have been clamoring for. Let's have true federalism so that each state can be dependent and it can be productive, can be efficient and effective. But that one is not there. If you go to China, for example, each province have their government. They have common, their central government, but the power of the central government is smaller than that of the state. Each state have its policies and constitution rules that is guiding them. But in Nigeria, everything is centralized. Until we practice what we profess to be doing through federalism, then we can get there.
Alright, if you are just joining us, yes, the Daybreak Show, that's the program on Rock City 101.9 FM, Citizens Forum. That's the segment. We are looking at the marginal exit from recession in Nigeria, of what effect, consequence, and signals do we see within the manufacturing sector, localizing it to Ogun State. Here, is it real? How are they coping? What are the signs, the indicators that yes, indeed, there's a marginal exit out of recession? We have a manufacturer with us, Johnson Olu Fatoki. I think we should just let you be a part of it from at this junction. Let's get what you think, ideas, suggestions, questions on any of the submission from our guest Johnson Olu Fatoki this morning. The marginal exit out of recession is effect on local production and manufacturers here in the States. 0809 8687 and 0909 146 9670.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Honourable Fatoki.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. In fact, I'm picturing you so much. You have talked inside throughout your discourse today. The very heart of a good industrialist. Let me put it that way. You are not owing or holding anything back to us. Everything in total is what is happening now because of lack in moral and ethical qualifications of most of our leaders. But then, I want to ask this question, sir. How do you pay your workers' salary yourself, sir? That's one. Then, if you could remember Idi Amin's days of Uganda, we always learn from this one. Is very human, and then somebody that you can even think of, not mindful word, and then of a man of principle, but on the negative side. How do you see the government or the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria making $1 to a naira so that it will help the industrialists and the people like you, and even we people too, to be able to be responsible, and then probably looking forward to our own future that will be steady, because we don't have any future now or dream for this nation that it will be healed up in time, unless people don't say we should pray, but we must work. When we work, we must pray as well. We have not gotten any true leader that is model at all for now. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. He wants to find out how the country can move a dollar back to a naira, taking us back to 1985, I suppose.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning, Dele. Good morning, Engineer Fatoki. My name is... I hope I can speak, sir.
Yes, we can, but it's not an engineer. He's the manufacturer. He's not an engineer. Yes.
Okay. Yes. My name is Dr. Uncle. I've listened to your speech, sir, on recession. I'm worried about that definition of recession, sir. That definition will not educate us on what the issue of recession, because we're talking about you don't have money, you don't have that, you don't have that. So I am in recession now because I don't have all those things. But I don't think the economy of Nigeria is in recession. Of course, the technical thing that when they have negative growth rate at least on 2 quarters, at least that's when we start those indices, which I'm sure GDP, income, employment, and all that. That's not, because it must have a time limit. It must have a time basis before we can talk of a recession. Classical definition, so that young students who are at home now can listen. There's something you missed out. Mismanagement of the economy by various regimes. You never talked about that. It could have been in a recession if the economy had been...
I think that's what he meant when he said man-made.
Man-made?
Yes, he used the word man-made.
Okay, man-made. Okay, yes, the recession. Okay. You see, that man-made is too easy. But politicians and some of you who are in politics and all that, what happened? And that is why we are here, where we are now, and then we are now trying to swim out of it. My way of looking at that recession and how to get out of it, because that's the most important thing. How do we get out of recession? Is because the human error. You can't come out of recession because you produce more electricity or more water. No, it's you. Now we have artificial scarcity of petrol in Abeokuta. We have nothing to do with NNPC. It's the mind. It is when people now decide that we want to get out of it, you will get out. It's not because of you want to have more refineries. You can have more refineries and nothing will come out of it. Like what we are having now. There's petrol in Shagamu, there's no petrol in Abeokuta. How do you explain it? It's because you have decided that there's petrol in Abeokuta so that we can create havoc. So emphasis should be on that. It's not of this manufacturing will come. If I know that I have to take care of you well, then I'll go out of my way to make things work. Human error, human factor, which you should emphasize on. And if we don't, and that's the problem in Nigeria, human factor, but we prefer to start the refinery in Togo, as you said, in South Africa, and all that. Why? We don't get it.
Right.
I can go on, but let me stop here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, just let me take one more, and then I'll give you the opportunity to let me add this one. Good morning. Good morning, Rock City 101.9 FM Daybreak Show. Yes, you're on. Hello. Okay, maybe while he gets ready, you want to react to. Okay, ready? Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning, Bradley.
Thank you, sir. Your name, sir.
Okay, I'm making a photo.
Thank you, Engineer Fatoki. All right.
Yes. This is the speaking, when we look at it, it seems as if we are going out of it. But proverbially, it's as if 5% now, the people that are taller, they may not feel the impact of that are under it. So economy is doing well, but not at one level for people of the lower caliber. People that are up, when the economy is good to really. So that is it. What it's a little doubt is what the people don't. The middle, the people want to do this time, the Lord to put the other side in. Economy is improving. But there is only one thing I advise government to do. This dollar is dollar. Everyone want to do better in South Africa. There is no dollar. You know, it's too much. I bought something from foreign country at the dollar rate of per dollar. $679 per dollar. So the government no problem. The economy is improving. But it's only being spent now at the high level But we find people in the middle and who are the lower point, they will enjoy it.
All right, thank you. And that's exactly what we are looking at. Is it true? How realistic are those positions of economists? That's why we brought somebody who is involved. That's actually what we are doing. Its real impact effect on the manufacturing sector, away from the figures, indices, indicators, the GDPs and all these things that are turned out from the seat of government and of course from the central bank. Hello, okay, can we have you?
Thank you. The first question is how do I pay the salary of my staff? Some of my staff are glued to the radio now. They bear me witness. No matter how small the salary I pay, the first thing I do before the end of the month is to pay the salary of my staff. So when you do that, you are even blessing your business, and your business will be growing. That is as far as that. And the question of how can government make $1 to ₦1? It is not impossible, but it's going to be gradual. For example, if the indices are put right, if we have provision of facilities, there is regular supply of electricity, good roads, and we encourage manufacturing within this country and discourage importation, then we have enough fund. Dollar will now be chasing naira, but now naira is chasing dollar, and the facet of demand and supply is what determines the price of any particular goods or service. So naira can still $1 can still equal $1. Depends on the government in place and determination to achieve it. Dr. Ugo is my good friend. When he first asked whether he should ask questions, I don't know. I don't have that power to stop anybody from asking question. Then he said his definition. My definition is not. He didn't agree with it. That the problem with man-made. When the government needs to put templates, the system has to be there in the first place.
He wants how government itself has administered the economy, has managed the economy, to also be reflected in your definition of, because I think that's what you're saying, that people should also agree that apart from whatever you think happens, we have not been able, or government have not been able to manage this properly. That's what
I never said. Government have not managed the recession crisis at all. But I'm saying we are yet to exit from a recession. Recession to common man is hardship. Recession to common man is food not on the table, prices of goods on the increase. So that is and we still have those factors there. Now, but he mentioned petrol, that people are hoarding petrol. Let me sincere to ourselves. Where there are free flow of products, nobody will hoard. If maybe if we have,
eventually when you don't have enough, that's when you can hoard.
That is it. And when you are not even sure that the one I have, if I sell it finished, but after it's been exhausted, you can have access to another one to buy. If the fear is there, there might be tendency to hoard. So the human factor might be there, but the government needs to put a template, a standard. The system has to work. If the NNPC is supplying regularly, if there's no strike, if the Pengasan is agreeing with the government, what are we talking about? In the last 6 months, before now, there wasn't anything like scarcity of petroleum. Even those that are hoarding, those that are not selling well now, they are contending with their pains, because at the end of the month they still need to pay salaries of their staff. But if they don't sell, how do they make profit? So it is the system collapse, and that has to be corrected. That's my and there are photo, fine. You look at for every efficiency, government have to be effective, efficient, and sincere in approach to issues. If the government practitioner, no matter how, like Dr. Uko mentioned, those of you in government, those of you politicians, is Dr. Uko not politician? In recent times, he was given a job to do by this.
Not a political job. Not a political job.
Who says so?
I said so. That is it. And the fact is that it's not a political job.
What is the definition of political
technical
job?
Committee, of course, it has to have a technical committee to do to midwife a school.
Yes.
So how does it turn?
What is the definition of political job? So we are all politicians.
That's not what we're talking about, the assignment and the job.
We also everybody has a role to play in making Nigeria better.
Okay, let's just see how many of these short code, the messages we can run through before we take the break for the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah, starting with the tweets, I have this one from Ayodo. Considering the security situation the nation is enmeshed, the extension of the tenure of the service chiefs. Okay, that is regarding the quick takes earlier. Robert says a nation who wants to come out of recession and never go back to it must engage in production system so you won't depend on other nation products. Bjorn said government still needs to do more in the areas of creating enabling environment for businesses to grow. The claim of the marginal exit from recession is not worth celebrating considering the enormous resources the country has. And Robert again says government should put infrastructure amenities in place to help this manufacturing campaign not to go into cessation again. And if all our manufacturing companies are functioning in full capacity, our unemployment rate will reduce. Again, this one from Ayodo says government should, as a matter of urgency, grant amnesty to manufacturing companies to import machineries for productions in order to bring down costs and ensure an healthy competition between demand and supply chain. And if our manufacturing company is working, Nigerians will not be seeking for greener pastures in an illegal manner. Robert sent that a message.
Yeah, I think the word is waiver, not amnesty, Robert. Okay.
Okay, I'm good. We have a message about the shortcut number. I'm very sure that things will never go well if all the big guns are still in control. What I mean is, if we are still taking our crude oil out because most of our leaders are still having refinery abroad, Nigeria's solution is revolution. I don't mind whichever way it comes. Pius from Shaje sent that message. I thank the speaker for mentioning cash as part of economic growth. Take a look at the house built during last administration through cooperative with now when cooperatives is no more functioning. Please, Apostle government on this cash flow.
Yes, sir, we have to take this way. We'll continue with your messages calls after the 10 o'clock news. Stay tuned. Okay, thank you so much for keeping faith with us. Daybreak Show on Rock City 101.9 FM. This is the voice of the people. This Thursday morning, we are looking at the report of the marginal exit out of recession in the country and its effect on our local economy, particularly the manufacturing sector here in Nigeria and here in Ogun State. And with us is a manufacturer, Honourable Johnson Olu Fatoki. Alright, we'll go back to your messages first and then take telephone calls. But before then, maybe Johnson Olu Fatoki can add this to other issues raised from those short code messages and other response from the callers. Now, I think it's Kayode Olumide who wanted to find out if Nigeria can go back to pre-1985, where we have a dollar of a pound to a dollar, so to say. And I look at the role of what the formal sector of our economy can do. The groups like Ogunsima, Chamber of Commerce, Mines, Industry and Agriculture. Of course, we have the national body, NASIMA. We have the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, and all these formal groups in this regard. How can they help to reshape this and take us to what we are talking about?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that every organization, any employer that have 4 to 5 employees is a company. Company is not the structure that we are referring to as company. If you are selling products at Lafenwa or Kuto Market and you have between 4 and 5 staff, you are a company. You have a company. And by extension, all these companies, all these organizations are expected to be member of chambers of commerce, in mines and agriculture. In Abeokuta, for example, the Abeosima, the Abeokuta Chambers of Commerce and Industry, in recent times have been very efficient and effective. In the area of training members, locally and internationally, Abeosima has been at the forefront. Monthly meetings, educating people, bringing technical personnel to enlighten, to give information is handled by Abeosima, by extension Ogusima. And
do they participate in government policy decision making?
Yeah.
Because like I said, this is the last buffer for what we are doing. That the one who feels it directly, that the one who showcase whatever that policy is, and that the one who can re-engineer this issue we are talking about.
Thank you. In advanced country, for example, let me say, like the Abeosima president recently visited Germany, where in actual fact the economy is being run as expected. There,
why is our own economy not being run as expected?
We have to come back to that. Now, anybody that has 4 or 5 members, compulsorily you must be member of chambers of commerce and industry. Then in the chamber also have, it is entrenched in their constitution. The chamber has a lot of role, decision making, in the government. It's not about advisory role alone, but actually practical involvement in the running of day-to-day government of Germany. So now, let me say, in Nigeria, for example, and in Ogun State, the maximum cooperation the chambers is receiving from government is when they want to do anything that has got to do with the economy, and we are invited
to fill the seats.
Yeah, to be there just for ceremonial purposes.
Just there won't be empty seats.
If we want to do any program, we also invite the government, and the representative also almost always attend for ceremonial. But when you talk of real economy, when you talk of involving in decision making, Nigerians is just to be there. The government is supposed to be a template. It's supposed to be entrenched in our constitution, for example. The role of NASIMA, the role of Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, the role of all these bodies have positive contribution they're supposed to make. Because we feel the impact most. When you look the theoretical aspect of it, the GDP, mentioning the whatever, all those one are theory. Practical aspect, we feel it, and we can make meaningful suggestion. But unfortunately, we are only involved in the ceremonial aspect of it.
All right, we'll get there. Let's get back to the telephone. 0986873444.
I could remember when we were very small, we never experienced any shortage of fuel, and NEPA never says light anyhow. Well, you did not include your name, so Dele, there is no doubt that any tech committee appointment is a political appointment in this country because it deals with the issues of payday, give and take to keep some people quiet, no more, no less.
Interestingly, that's not where we are talking about. Well, that's not what we are discussing. Thank you. It just came on as a line out.
Alright, we cannot have stable electricity supply because we are still refining our crude oil abroad, and if we don't have stable electricity supply, we can not have good economy. Pius from Shaje sent that message. I can now see and feel the biggest reason why our country, Nigeria, normally goes in recession. Just watch all the untouchable with looted funds gallivanting around the world to buy properties abroad. More importantly, to suppress the people back home. Another thing is continuous sale of generators at the expense of regular stable electricity supply. Kayode Olumide sent that message. And to check the tweets we've got here, Akorede Camille says, undoubtedly, manufacturers for now are struggling between balancing the rising output and the cost pressure. This is passing inflationary pressure on already constrained consumers by raising prices of some products. And he said again, can the guest in the studio please explain how CBN intervention funds is killing their business? I do know the reason for intervention is to force down the pressure on Naira, that the dollar. Adene Koluwashefu says our major challenge was the acute scarcity of foreign exchange, which restricted the ability of manufacturers to import raw materials for production. How can this issue be solved? And again it says, if the government can find solution to the epileptic power supply, bad roads, high interest rates and high cost of energy, which contributed to a high cost of production and impediment of competitiveness, there will be rapid economic development. And for Larry says, we shouldn't deceive ourselves. The country currently has no effective system to eradicate recession. Political office holders' incomes are prioritized over economic growth. Lots of sacrifices have to be done to achieve this probabilistic dream. Ayola Adegoke says, what we need in Nigeria is a very strong system that can curb or eradicate all perceived forms and instances of corruption, not a system that will permit corruption. For example, a good system should be put in place that will allow for payment of workers timely. And those are the tweets for now.
All right. Fatoki, you want to react to any before we go back?
Yeah, thank you. I will start from the last contributor. Payment of salary as at when due. When this one is guaranteed, I mentioned earlier on, when this one is guaranteed, you are sure of development of economy. When gratuity is paid immediately at the exit of the worker, you will discover that most workers will even be retiring voluntarily. In recent times, recently, the state government they went into some investigation, and they discovered some workers have falsified their age, and by so doing, they want to stay longer. It's not because they love staying longer, but the fear of unknown is there. When the workers leaves and the pension is not granted, when the workers leaves and the gratuity is not paid 3, 4, 5 years, you can imagine what will be the effect. So if all these things are put in place, if government ensure regular payment of salary either at the local government level, state and the federal, the payment of gratuity is done as at when due, you will discover more jobs will be created, because people will be retiring voluntarily, will be going voluntarily, and that will give more room for employing the undergraduates that are there looking for jobs. And you can imagine what the effect of will be. Economy will improve. Then I mentioned also the issue of electricity. You can't undermine it. If it is not there, a lot of businesses will die. In fact, a lot of businesses are dying. And that's why we have some organizations, some company leaving Nigeria for South Africa and Ghana. And their products are still brought in because when you talk of highest consumer of goods is Nigeria. We have the population.
That's the highest market.
Yes, the market is there. We have the population at an advantage.
The biggest market.
Then somebody mentioned the CBN intervention. CBN intervention in the issue of dollar. It actually forced down the price. The value of dollar, and by extension, prices of imported items reduce. But this one is a control. All things being equal, is supposed to be left with the forces of demand and supply. If the system is working efficiently, the system is not working efficiently, and that is why we have control. That it is also replicated in the issue of petroleum. Initially, the government told us that when the price was moved from 70 to 147 naira, from 70 to 147, it was brought down to 145. The excuse there was the subsidy is being removed. There was controversy on it. At a point, some agency or some government leader will say it is not total subsidy removal. Some may say it's partial. So as of now, we are not even sure whether the subsidy has been removed or not. So the first thing the government should do, they should work. What is difficult in the
government is still subsidizing fuel.
What is difficult in making sure that we have 24 hours supply of electricity?
Now, in fairness, since May 2016 till now, at least here in Ogun State, we've not had this kind of experience. We've not had it since May 2016. We've had regular, constant supply
of what?
Of fuel.
Yes, it's true. That is true. So then, another major challenge that the manufacturing organization is facing is multiple taxation. The local government will come with about 4 or 5 different taxes.
Levies. The state government will come. Federal government,
the VAT issue is there. When you look at developed nation, these taxes are compressed, and it is even easier to be paid by organizations. The government should look into which taxes or levies. The constitution even state it clear. Those levies that can be administered by the local government level and the state, the federal. But unfortunately, everything is being muddled together. In fact, there are some introduction when you get some paper in Ogun State. By the time you get to Lagos, you have to take another one. In the driving license, for example, if you're a driver, commercial driver, you get the national driving license. Lagos State will still give you. If you don't obtain Lagos State driving license, you can't drive in Lagos. I'm talking of commercial driver, not private drivers. All these things are supposed to be looked into by the government and harmonized for the benefit of people. The government is there to deliver the dividends of democracy. The government is there to make the system work. Everybody cannot be in government. Any individual or group that find themselves there, you should be patriotic enough and do the right thing so that this nation can move forward.
All right, 08098667344.
Our guest.
Good morning,
I'm calling from Basala, Abeokuta. When it is issue of economy is attacked more forming. No doubt we are in precarious situation economically. The debt you have talked more on disposable income, which is fast diminishing. And top with is that the country undergoing stagflation. This means low disposable income pairs with rapid electric cost of goods, double-edged problem. Demand is elastic and supply is zero elasticity. This is the indication that we have now. If you go to our market, we receive it. And the funny state of this is that we have almost lost our food industry, and we are unwary. You raise a point which you emphasize time and time. Payment of salary, pensions as are due, and other remunerations are needs to boost the economy, to replace it. This, I say, is the top-down solution for now. This is what is projected by one great economist, as he even helped the United States of America in terms of a recession. This is what can pay the economy for now, and not capital projects. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Let's add your voice. Somebody's there. Good morning.
My name is Big Daddy.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Dele Honourable Fatoki. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You have spoke wisely. You see, I want to tell you why the dollar have to concern about the vegetable and palm oil. I have a car, I want to go and buy fuel, and tell me that because of the dollar, the fuel is increasing. I want to go and buy parts for my car, and tell me about dollar. How much more meat I selling vegetables, because what make me to transport those vegetables to the town, the dollar affects this. So definitely what I brought with it. And when you hear from year to year, you will see all these start collecting money from people. But let me let you to understand one thing there is this. It's still the same parents that teach us for practice in Spanish. They are the still one in the university today. But we're supposed to have a teacher and a lecturer. But when they come back and we vote for them again, I want you to tell me what is reception. Is it not bankrupt that Nigeria go? We have been there just because of mismanagement of our leaders. They who come again, we vote for them. Look at what is happening in France. How the whole promises made when they were going there, when they get there, they change their mind. And everybody looking for his own pocket. Where are we going in Nigeria today? You are looking for dollar to this and that. Somebody is in that of that dollar that make it not to come down. Selfish interest that make him to be looking for his pocket. Taking money under the ground, when is he going to spend it? He will never get rest because that money will be disturbing him. So now let me not stop doing this because the government is making ideas to tell us. Look at what is happening in China. No money in pocket, no food to eat, no life. Nothing whatsoever. They promise us so 24 hours supply of life.
All right.
To make sure they increase the life.
You are approaching 2 minutes. Thank you.
Let me leave the minute for the next time.
08098687344.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Honourable Johnson. I'm calling from the British Parliament in Abuja. Honourable Fatoki, I've done just this. The one we are discussing, God will continue to bless you. But at the same time, it is very fundamental and economical. If government can just provide an improving environment for small scale industry to even try. I mean, the artisans, the barbers, the organizers, etc. I mean, by making sure that we have electricity in this country, we start with, the number one fundamental thing that is provided. I'm telling you, they're going to get it right. What do we call economy? Economy is when everything is going on very well. Individuals and people can be able to go to one or two in their pocket and they can be able to meet, the limited demand of livelihood. I mean, that is it. But in the situation we have, the government is not doing the making the energy sector. A lot of things. I mean, if you want to start any other business, you cannot go to the bank and say you want to go and borrow money. Students, ideas concerning the collateral of all this, go and bring that, go and build it. So a lot of people are having it not to be quite very well. So they are not happy with that, but God is going to bless us. Let me allow other people to call Dele. God bless you people. God bless Nigeria.
God bless you too.
Mohammed Lambarewa, Doctor. Good morning, Honourable Fatoki.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I agree with your submission, but I want you to note that once withdrawal is higher than injection in the system, there is going to be crisis. The withdrawal, what I mean by withdrawal is when the amount of money that is in circulation is removed from circulation. If that is higher than the one that is pumped into the circulation, there is going to be a shortage of money in circulation, and the velocity of money will be very, very low. Let me say what I mean. Let me break it down. Civil servants, when they receive their salary, they go to the market. You will see them at the ATM machine. That money will go into circulation. But when our politicians get their money, they put it inside pigeonhole, they put it inside the overhead tank. That type of money doesn't go into circulation, and rather it is not used for production. So that is one of the reasons that the government of the state must make sure payments of salaries are regular. Once they are regular, there will be enough money in circulation, and the producers will be able to be encouraged to produce. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, let's add the messages there in. Okay, we have somebody. After this, we check the messages, please. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. My name is Nico. Now, see, let me salute our game. They said it way, and that's the reality. They are not good policy. And I want those that will come out and say they are experts in it. I want to give them that expert. So everybody can see the reality. Things are not growing. People are being told on 7 days. And no job. And you are saying you are coming out of, I don't know what to say there. Look, let's take us every year. No person. I can only move from my house because there's no person in my vehicle. I wonder whether I will be sweating around the road now. No, for nothing. So you're telling me things are moving forward. They said they want to take almost about 30 billion to go and do in better. For what? When there are a lot of things that you can start, establish business and let people have jobs to do. Why must we import everything in this country all the time? That's our problem. No, right. Everything is not working. And they are saying they are working on it. I'm very sure that the time to come is not yet time. For the time to come, we will tell them the reality. They are doing the last season government. What are they doing now? They are doing worse than the last season government. But this is the time to come. I was telling them again, I said wait, now that's the reality.
Alright, thank you.
Alright, we got some tweets here. Yemi Da Vinci. All Nigerians, especially manufacturers, should forget about electricity supply from national grid. Get your own renewable energy sources. PHCN or NEPA, various EDCs in this Nigeria could work. And he said we should have used the dollars used to defend Naira to build IPP for industrial clusters and fix our rail systems. This will stimulate job creation and exportation, which will drive dollar prices down. But we wasted a crisis. He continued again, we have wasted our money defending the Naira instead of building infrastructure. That's why with small increase in crude oil prices, smuggling of petrol across Nigeria border has resumed, resulting in scarcity. Sure. Akorede Camille says, did the guest follow the order by the FG on firms not to lay off staff despite economic crunch? That's if he has one. Samuel 63 says, how can we have good economy when small entrepreneurs can't have access to NAFDAC approval easily? Where can someone that borrowed 5 or 50,000 naira to start a production will get 200,000 naira for NAFDAC approval? Bad policy is killing us. Again, Yemi Davini says, I agree with everything Honourable Fatoki has said. Totally. Ismail Oloyede said, I really appreciate the brilliant submission of Honourable Johnson Fatoki. However, I do not expect any PDP person like our guest this morning to acknowledge the fact that massive looting of the treasury, as was characterized by the PDP federal government, was responsible for recession. And Surakat Abiodun says, taxes paid by manufacturers needs to be harmonized. A situation where producers find itself in this situation, the burden will be passed to the final consumers, and this will increase prices of goods and commodity. Again, Samuel 63 said our economy is bad due to bad policy of the government. Our leaders don't make policy to improve the economy, but to give jobs for themselves to channel money away. Again, from Abiodun, sir, please, I want you to talk on policies of government as regards manufacturers. Do you think the policies are really helping in shaping the economy? Ismail Oloyede says, it is my belief that the narratives with regards to the causes, effect, and the eventual marginal exit of recession will always be a subject of controversy, and it will be difficult to insulate the 16 years misrule of the PDP from the so-called self-inflicted recession. The government that met 187 naira to a dollar now up to 365 naira or thereabout. Nothing calls for celebration here. Government should do more for us to move away from this evil called recession. And the last one here, apart from the poor electricity supply, I do know that high cost of production is another major challenge encountered by manufacturers. Thank God there is now access to foreign exchange. I charge you to make your product more attractive for local patronage. That's coming from Akorede Camille. And it said here, undoubtedly, manufacturers are now struggling between balancing the rising output and the cost pressure, but this is passing inflationary pressure on already constrained consumers by raising prices of some commodities. And those are the tweets.
All right, Honourable Fatoki.
Thank you very much. A lot was said in the submission of Nigerians. Somebody talked about PDP perceived looting of fund. I'm a member of PDP, no doubt. But even when PDP was in government, areas that the performance that was not satisfactory, each time I make contribution on this platform, I was always speaking the truth. So, but now we have had another government in place almost 3 years now. So whatever bad or perceived bad administration, looting, corruption that must have been experienced in the past, if the present government is genuine, there is reason to show, there's reason to convince Nigeria. They should be able to convince Nigeria that there will be positive change. Then the government policy, somebody asked whether the government policy is actually assisting the manufacturing industry. In the area of interjection in the dollar, provision of dollar, it's at 16 because the dollar moved from 800 naira now to
at least reduce it to
350 in the open market, black market.
Yes.
So that is reasonable, but it's not. We are not there yet. We still expect more policy implementation from government in order to ensure that we have real economic system moving and the sustenance of our economic system. Somebody mentioned if you have just 100,000 naira, you want to invest. He's talking about the NAFDAC position, the money that you have to pay to NAFDAC. Let me point out this: if you have 4 to 5 personnel or staff, it is you are a small scale industry or company. And for example, if you have a pure water factory and you want to obtain NAFDAC number, or you are producing soap, you want to obtain NAFDAC number. Once you are a small scale industry, the government policy now is that the money that you are expected to pay have been slashed by 50%.
I see.
That is an encouragement. Implementation of this, I don't know whether it is actually being implemented. But there was a pronouncement that I think if you are if you are producing water or packaging water, before now it was 38,500 naira. That is NAFDAC fee, and that has been reduced by 50%. That by implication you are to pay about 19,250 naira. Is an encouragement. So we should also encourage. Then the issue of somebody mentioned demand more than supply. Definitely you have shortage. If there's shortage, there will be increase in price, skyrocket increase in prices of goods and services, and that is exactly what is killing the economy. If the system is not there, because you don't have system working, there is collapse of system. The government need to wake up and be sincere to ensure that we have a coordinated system, and the system is continuously monitored, efficient monitoring, so that we can get results. Result is what we want, and we can only get result if the government, create an enabling environment. There should be templates that everybody should see. If the government give us the template, Nigerians are obedient servants. They will follow suit.
All right, because let's just wrap this up with the messages, if there are any there.
Yes, I've got one here. Dr. Nkam from Ashura says, who is the government, sir? Is it the governor or the civil service or the market women?
Do you have an answer to that quickly?
Government?
In 30 seconds.
Like I said,
who is the government?
I said government. We are all politicians. We are all, but we have people in charge. The political office holders, in conjunction with the civil servants, are government.
All right, yes, we have to end it here. We appreciate everybody. Keep the debate on. Tomorrow it's a Friday, so that means it's another opportunity that we'll have to ventilate, cross-pollinate or cross-fertilize ideas on this platform. Dele Ayodo is my name. I say a big thank you to our guest, Johnson Olu Fatoki, for coming. We thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And I say, God bless you all, God bless Nigeria, and God bless Rock City.